Hello, I'm Stephen Cooley, and welcome to the Stephen Cooley Real Estate Show. I'd like to welcome Scott Stegall to our show. Scott's our home inspector expert, always giving us great advice. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Scott with Carolina Home Pros is doing inspections in North Carolina and South Carolina, doing a ton of them for our clients, and always doing an amazing job. So thanks for being on today's show.
Thanks, Stephen.
One thing I wanted to bring to the viewers today is when you sell a home, you're the seller, and a buyer shows interest in your home, they go under contract. In that North and South Carolina contract, there's either one of two things. There's a repair clause in that contract, or there's a due diligence clause in that contract. And so the buyer has an opportunity to then inspect the property. So a lot of sellers, I find out there, are not prepared for that home inspection. And the buyer's coming in, the inspector's coming in, they're there 2 or 3 hours in the home, and they're finding a lot of things that just if the seller would have prepared the home for the inspection, they would have done. So I guess I'd like to ask you in two parts. First of all, just accessibility to everything in the home, boxes, furniture. I mean, you really need to see the entire house. So just in prepping the home, what are some things that the seller can do?
Well, the seller needs to realize that the home inspector is actually going to start inspecting that home before they even get out of the truck or their car. As they pull up in front of the home, they're going to get a feeling for the home. Is the yard kept? Is the bushes and the shrubs trimmed? Is it peeling paint? Do we see stuff overflowing gutters? All these things start to send up red flags, and it makes a home inspector want to delve a little bit deeper when he's seeing the property has not been maintained to its optimum condition. As you mentioned, accessibility. Home inspectors are not required to move personal items. They're not required to light pilot lights on, and sometimes some will and some won't. They're just not required to light pilot lights on gas logs, on water heaters and things like that. So making accessibility for all that, attic access, going in the attic. Some home inspectors will go up and they will move a few things. Some home inspectors will just say it was inaccessible based on stored personal items, which means that's going to be a delay. The buyer's probably going to want the home inspector to come back to check those things that weren't accessible, or check those things that weren't lit, pilot lights and systems that were not functioning as intended.
Absolutely. So underneath the house needs to be unlocked. Any attached storage buildings need to be unlocked. Attic access being available, being able to get up there in the attic, all very important. Cabinets unlocked. Some people are locking, underneath their sinks and things like that if they have small children. All those places need to be open and available for when you come.
Exactly. If they're not, like I said, then a lot of times the buyer requests the home inspector to come back. And in some cases, they ask the seller to bear that expense. Because there is some expense. So having that accessibility is very important. Another point would be pets. Make sure that either pets are crated or out of the home. If they're in the garage and there's a dog and it's barking, usually a home inspector there again will say, hey, there was a pet in the garage, I didn't go in there, and that will kind of stop the transaction until that area is accessible.
Absolutely. And part two, I guess, would be, are there just some little tips that sellers can know before you come that will make the home inspection go better, possibly less things be on there to be fixed?
There's a lot of things that the homeowner can do, like I spoke of earlier, just some general things. I mean, there's shrubbery issues, there's drainage issues from gutters, clean your gutters, just getting your house in order.
Yeah.
I mean,
having bulbs
declutter.
Having bulbs work in light fixtures so you don't have to say that there's an electrical problem with that light fixture.
Exactly. Declutter, making sure everything's accessible and working and functioning. Run everything yourself. Run the dishwasher if you're a person that doesn't use the dishwasher very often. A lot of times we find the dishwashers that are not run, they leak.
Absolutely. Unstick and open and close every window in the house.
Exactly.
Before you get there, right?
That is a safety emergency egress issue.
Absolutely.
So it will be in the report. I'll guarantee you, every home inspector will call that out.
Good. And when you leave the house and you've got the inspection done, one thing that I'd love for sellers to understand is that inspection belongs to the person who paid for it and hired you, not the homeowner.
Exactly. It belongs by state law to the client, which is in most cases the buyer.
Absolutely.
We even, to transfer that report, a home inspector has to get permission from our client to transfer it to a realtor.
Absolutely, because a lot of you'll leave the house and some of my sellers will call in 5 minutes and want to know what it says on there, and I have to go through that and explain to them, even though they own the home, the buyer paid for the inspection, they own it, and they can give it to anybody they want to, and with the new due diligence clause, that a buyer can walk for any reason, we may not even ever see a copy of that home inspection.
Exactly, it may just go away.
Great information there, and I think that if your home's on the market and you've got a buyer and the buyer's coming for that home inspection also probably with the inspector, the best thing to do is make sure everything's working yourself before they come, everything's accessible, and then you as the owner and your pets and your kids vacate the property and let the inspector do his job. Absolutely, great information there. And I do have to say, if you've never seen one of these inspections, one of your inspections, you take colored photos of the problem so the buyer and the seller are not having to crawl under the house and find these spots, and you're going in great detail and information about what you did find with a colored photo.
Yeah, and in some cases we're now inloading videos, and if it's something that's making a movement or a sound that is unusual, then we'll inload videos in the report also.
Great information. And remember, he's going from the dirt to the sky, and so everything's getting checked on that home. So you really want to make sure that the home's up and running and in good shape before the buyers come. So thank you, great information, and thanks for being our expert on home inspections on the TV show. Can you tell folks how to reach you if they're interested in getting a home inspection, whether it be a pre-inspection if they're a seller? As most people know who've watched the show before, I think you should have an inspection every 2 to 3 years on your home, whether you're moving or not, or if you're a buyer and about to buy a home, getting an inspection. All those can call you.
You can reach us at Carolina Home Pro Inspections at 803-242-9588 or on the web at carolina-homepro.com.
Thanks for the information, Scott. We've got beautiful homes for sale on today's show. Please stay tuned, and we'll be right back. I hope you've enjoyed watching the Stephen Cooley Real Estate Show. If you're interested in advertising your business on the program, please give us a call at 803-326-2777 or send us an email at ask@makeitlocal.com. Join us next week for more discussions on real estate topics and help in finding your perfect home. Thanks for watching.